Apparently, we are more creative in the shower. Yeah.
Would you rather have dinner with Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg?
Women's clothing has got a little bit more provocative, is that the right word?
Social smart. Purely because book smart is limited to what that book has. A lot of pressure. I think especially the younger generation, because obviously we have Instagram, Facebook, we've got TikTok, Snapchat.
Inspired you to create Saints Blanc, that clothing brand that did so well, and it's still blown up obviously to this day, to be probably a huge clothing brand down south.
Welcome to You Know What, the podcast for you that dispels the myths and BS in the fitness industry whilst leveling up your A game in everyday life. We are your hosts, Nick Finch and Dan King. Welcome to another podcast, guys. This is You Know What.
Hell yeah.
We have a lovely guest here today. Kevin Nimesh, is it?
That's Kevin Nimesh, that's right. My last name is
Perfect.
Rana Singh, but I go by Kevin Nimesh.
Perfect. Just make sure I get that right. And obviously, Dan, as you know, one of your lovely hosts.
Yes, we know each other, because we went to the same secondary school, didn't we? And obviously, you know a lot of people I know. We've got a lot of mutual friends in common between us.
That's correct.
Nice. Well, now there's a third mutual, so
You're joining the cohort. I like it.
I think we'll kick off with obviously the random fact today. And Kevin, you've got one, right?
That's right, because Dan obviously got me to find a fun fact. So I came across this one. I don't know how the science behind it, but apparently we are more creative in the shower. Apparently the heat gives us dopamine that releases creativity, which for me, I was surprised because obviously my creativity does come from the shower. So I didn't realize it's an actual fact. I don't know if it's the same for you guys or not, but yeah, it's blown my mind in that sense.
I'd say that's I mean, I get a lot from warm showers.
I've heard about this. It's to do with like the bathroom area, because some people have said sitting on the toilet gives them ideas.
Yeah.
And some people say going to a shower gives them ideas. I've never had ideas on a toilet, but
I think as long as we're relaxed, I think that's where we get creativity from.
maybe not too relaxed.
Yeah.
In the toilet.
It's like a safe space, isn't it? I guess like the warm shower relaxes the muscles. It's like doing yoga almost, but like kind of forced yoga. I'd say it's kind of forced yoga. You're like relaxing your muscles in the shower, nice warm shower. I mean, I get some of my best creative
muscles
ideas.
are we relaxing in the shower?
Your brain.
Okay.
You know, it's like a constant head massage, isn't it? If you think about it, just saying, it kind of makes sense for me.
I'm still stuck on the previous point, but yeah.
But no, that was good. That was a strong one. We haven't had one with a little explanation yet, and I like that because I think creative is a good part of all of us as kind of young entrepreneurs as well. It's something that we all kind of strive and work towards. We do have a very interesting question to start off with for you, Kevin, and it's a little bit kind of like out there. So, would you rather have dinner with Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg?
Can you repeat that again?
So, would you rather have dinner with Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg?
Right. I think Elon Musk. Purely because I just think he's a cool guy. He's just a cool guy.
That's my guy too. That's my guy.
You know, just me. Like the conversation we'd have over dinner, I just think would be much more, how do I say, more interesting and factual. And I think I would walk away from that learning something. You know. So.
I'd agree, to be fair, we'd agree with you there. We're both kind of Elon Musk. I prefer Elon Musk. I think he's a little bit more flamboyant than Mark Zuckerberg. However, have you seen the shape that Mark Zuckerberg is in at the minute?
Yeah.
He's a unit of a man. The man is getting through many steaks a day.
Elon Musk? Yeah. Elon Musk is getting on it. Like, have you seen he's tweeting back? He's saying, like, they've got the Colosseum set up.
That's insane. That's an insane
he's got dumbbells in his office. Do you know what I mean? He's taking it seriously, man.
I find it so bizarre that we're moving into 2023 and we're having a fight between two of the biggest tech giants in the world in the Roman Colosseum.
That's the thing, yeah. Plus, for facts, I know it'll be in the metaverse and there'll be all sorts. I reckon it's going to be a whole different type of event. You know, it's not going to be our typical one.
Oh, mate, could you imagine the metaverse, right? You're actually, like, it's a virtual world, obviously. You're all in a crowd. And you're surrounded by other people that are also tuned in the metaverse.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like a fight on the moon.
That's just insane. I just think that is the future of what's there for sporting events, to be honest. With VR sets and all sorts coming out. I think, not surprised.
I'm excited for it. I'm not going to lie. So, Kevin, we're actually going to go a little bit more, obviously, into kind of like your side of things as a young business owner. You're actually based in Mozambique, aren't you, at the minute? It's a really interesting thing to start about.
And that's the bizarre thing is a lot of people always ask me, Why? Just why Mozambique? Because obviously,
Yeah.
I was in the UK, so I have set up my car business here, which is not typical, I would say. I have another company as well, Saint Blanc, which is my
Yeah.
clothing. So this one is still running. That's a UK business that I'm doing. But I'm now in Africa here doing car business. So I sell vehicle parts, I do modification, I sell cars. Anything car related is under one roof. And that's kind of the show that I'm running here at the moment.
I like it as well because I did a little research, obviously, into the businesses you run. I primarily know Saints Blanc because that was something when you were at Portsmouth. Now, am I right in saying you got an award for that business?
Yes, I did. I was also featured in GQ magazine. I had. So to be fair, Saints Blanc opened up a lot of doors for me because back in my A-levels, it started as an extended project. No intention of doing it as a business. It was purely just get a project out there, and I just thought, is it allowed to do? Am I allowed to make money out of a project? And then my teacher was like, you know what? If you can, that's good for you. Do it. And I was like, let's do it. And then I guess my entrepreneurial story kind of started from my first company, which helped me develop into a completely different industry. There's no relation between clothing and vehicle, but all the skills that I have adapted from there, I'm able to put towards here. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So how old are you again?
So I'm 23.
23.
Yeah.
Young person award, mate. It makes sense now. Damn.
He's not going to be 79 and being like, just hit a young person award, is he?
Yeah, well, I didn't know. I thought young person award was for like younger than 18. Didn't know.
No, well, as I say, it was at university, so I remember you getting it, me being like, damn, son.
Yeah, because I'm getting older. I'm 32, Kevin, so I was like, would I be classified as young person now? I don't know. I think I'll be...
To be fair, 30 for me is the new young. It used to be like you had to get married by 28, 25, but now most people, if you ask them 30, it's kind of the new young, in my opinion, so...
I think that's spot on, to be honest. Yeah, I'd agree with that, to be honest. Because I'm looking at my long-term plans are kind of more around like 27, 28. And you know what? There's so many people out there who are 30-year-olds being like, I'm getting old now. And I think it's different. I think it's different in the entrepreneurial space because I think a lot of us turn around and we kind of say, actually, the 30s are more fun because you have more money in your 30s. But speaking from your perspective, Kevin, obviously coming back years now, we're talking people between the ages of 18 to 25 and now are coming into that...
There's people younger than even me, for example. I look at my brothers, for example, because I started my entrepreneurial background at the age of 18. They started, 14, 15, so even younger. So I think generally I feel like the new generation, they more smarter because obviously we are more prone with the internet and we've got more things to aid us, really. Eventually we'll get old,
Also, Kevin, I would say as well, obviously... There is a consideration that when you're younger, like let's say you are 14 and you're living at home with your parents, there is the added benefit of having no responsibilities outside of like having to pay rent, etc. So I feel like
that's correct.
We lost him there. No, he's good. But obviously because you get older, you move out of your parents' house. It is a little bit harder for a certain age range, I would say, to have that kind of success, if that makes sense. Because when you've got access to the internet, all of the cool things that you can do, all these coaches that can teach you how to do stuff, and you've got no bills to pay, it is easier, for sure. So those that are 30 and older, they didn't have that so much. So that's why you're seeing, like, as you said, so many young people now, like, doing so well.
I see some stories, I look at podcasts, and I'm thinking, wow, multi-millionaires, age 18, 17, buying all these fancy houses. It's pretty normal now, but let's say if you did go a couple of years back, that's unheard of because most successful people are generally more mature, 30 plus, 40s, I'm talking. So for example, my industry that I'm in, there is obviously competition here, but when they've seen me as a 23-year-old person, they're a bit shocked because they were like, who's the boss? And I'm like, it's me.
It's me. This guy.
They're expecting a bigger figure, someone who's 40 or 50, a little bit more mature than me. So
you're changing the dynamic, mate. I love it. You're changing the dynamic. It's so good as well. So, I mean, talking obviously about your kind of award and your entrepreneurial side of it, what kind of what inspired you to create Saints Blanc, that clothing brand that did so well, and it's still blown up obviously to this day, to be probably a huge clothing brand down south, because Nick knew about it, and I mean he's in Southampton as well. It wasn't just a Portsmouth based thing.
I did hear about it, and I never knew it was yourself, Kevin.
Oh right, you heard about it. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's mad.
So what inspired you? What inspired you to create that clothing brand?
So I would say growing up, creativity. Let's put the subject creativity for now. I've always been creative. It doesn't matter in what, but I've just been creative, whether it's kind of new concept or physical designing. I had that kind of relationship. That was my passion in general. So at the time, like I explained early on, it was a project for my A-level. I thought, since I'm scheduled, I have a periodic table where I can obviously do this. It's like, it's an opportunity for me. You know, I'm not having to use outside of my schooling hours to do something. So I was like, okay, let me use my creativity and what's kind of on the trend. And obviously, at that time, I was looking at Gymshark and at Alphalete, all these companies that were coming up on my Instagram, and I was really, I liked it, you know, it kind of caught my attention. I was like, what if I created something like this, a little bit more affordable? So I designed, creating my first t-shirt, which was my first logo, and people were like, this looks really expensive, Kev. And I said, expensive? Okay, this is, going back to my fun fact from the shower. Funny enough, when I decided on the topic of doing a clothing brand for my project, I had to come up with a logo. Funny enough, I knew the logo I wanted to have, but without a name. At the time, I was a fan of Northampton Saints, and I wanted kind of my French, because I was born in Paris. So my French heritage, I wanted kind of a brand to represent myself. So there I am in the shower, butt naked, steamed up. I'm just there, just drawing on the glass, just different logos. There was one. I was like, wait, I crossed it out. And I looked back, wait, that looks really good. Just a crossed out bit. And I quickly came out of the shower, took my phone, took a picture. And then I started to doodling schedule onto paper. And then the brand kind of grew from there. So what I would say, I worked backwards. I did the logo and created my branding around the logo as opposed to doing an image and kind of align it with the logo. So
and do you know what? Like, to be fair, I think that's almost like having the vision before obviously you execute on it. And I feel like, you know, when we talk about vision, having a logo can often cement that vision in your head.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So the logo kind of, for me, it kind of formalized exactly what kind of image I want to go for, what kind of market I want to go for. I want to go for the expensive look, but for a much affordable rate. And that's how my business became a success, is because it quickly caught on that I was selling affordable hoodies, t-shirts, and eventually I did gym sets. And that's when gym sets is when my whole company went off the charts, because that summer is when I really dedicated time after the project. I dedicated time to expand the business, look for factories, and I really spent time on it. So I would say it kind of kickstarted all that from my first gym set.
Kevin, I believe that you have gym sets for women, right? Like leggings, etc.
Yeah.
Was that on the website?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's right.
Now this comes on to another. This comes on to another point, because I was talking to Dan recently about it. In fact, today actually, and we've noticed over the years that women's clothing has got a little bit more provocative. Is that the right word?
Yeah, you could say provocative. More, you know, aesthetically pleasing to the eye, aesthetically appealing, isn't it? To accentuate figures.
For example, you know, the leggings that have like the scrunch on the back, which basically tucks the bum in to accentuate it. So, you know, since you are the owner of a female fitness clothing brand, potentially, what's your views on it, mate? Do you think it's gone too far?
Thing is, for me, I have my limits, because obviously for me, it's not just the looks. It has to have practicality with it, you know, whether from the material choice that I do. But I do have to follow the trends, obviously, as a business. I have to follow what people are kind of into. So I do a lot of research and kind of see what trends are available. But, you know, there is some bizarre gym set that I've seen that that's not a gym set anymore. That's just turned into just a fashion, really, and it's perfectly fine. But that's just not my image, unfortunately. That's just not my focus. Mine is more practicality, to enhance confidence. End of the day, the company was created to enhance confidence. So the scrunch bum and stuff like that is obviously to boost like girls' confidence, obviously to go to the gym and feel good about themselves, and they'll push harder. And I kind of build a community based off that. And I get a lot of influence because obviously I work with influencers and other collaborators, and they give me ideas and say, Kev, what if you did this and that? And we talk. So a lot of the ideas actually with gym sets started off with my own vision, but then eventually became the community kind of reaching back to me, kind of telling, can you put this, can you put these colors, these kind of shades, and so I do maximum as I can to provide for them. So yeah, I listen to most of the time is community based, and when I moved to Portsmouth is when my company went from one step to another, because I was more prone to a bigger market now. I had more people. I'd never been down south. It was the first time. So, Southampton, Portsmouth, Bournemouth, all of these areas obviously are there. So I kind of quickly got to know some influencers and did some shoots, video campaigns. And I went really heavily on marketing because I was new to that area, and I wanted to be sure that I had brought the brand with me from Cambridge all the way to down south and kind of expand from there onwards.
Yeah, you said about influence as well. I think one of the big influences you do, you probably know I'm going to say here, was Miss Great Britain, wasn't it?
Yeah, Miss Great Britain. She is a really good friend of mine. Actually, funny enough, she is joining on. So me and her, we've talked a lot of what is the next step for my company. So I'm taking her on board as a creative director, because she's got some fantastic ideas. And me and Chloe are really good friends, and we are, we're just like yin and yang. She gives me ideas that we bounce off each other. A lot of the shoots that I did from Portsmouth actually came from me and her kind of bouncing ideas off each other, and they turned out to be huge success. So I know a lot of the company's success I owe to her. So I said to her, I have an opportunity. Like, once I come back to the UK, we'll talk and we'll see where I can take it to the next step. And we got some fantastic ideas I've got down. We are due for a meeting, and the journey to Saint Blanc is going to be a whole new level. So I'm looking forward to it. Love it.
So honestly, as I say, I knew Chloe from the club scene because she used to work at Prism. Obviously, we both went out to Prism. We know what Portsmouth Prism's like. You probably did it slightly differently to how I did it, because I was pretty much on the door, just doing my thing, selling tickets as a promoter back in the day. But I think it's so nice as well when you get that kind of collaborative piece with people. And like me and Nick always say, we work as yin and yang in a way. We collaborate on different things. We've got slightly different personalities, which means you bring this different aspect to the business. So obviously, it is a fitness brand, and the important thing with a fitness brand is you're inspired by fitness yourself. Now, I kind of want to know from your side of things, what actually at the minute is your training routine? Like, what are you doing yourself at the minute, if you are or aren't? Like, kind of what is your structure to your day, and do you find that impacts your work life as well?
Yeah, so what it used to be back in England, I was flexible. So I was able to go to the gym in the mornings and then go to work and come back home. But now, obviously, I'm in a completely different country, and I tend to work late. It depends, because for example, now I'm fully booked for the next 3 months. We've got an insane amount of car builds to go through. So we do finish around 9, 10 o'clock sometimes. But gym for me, I've always lived by, if I'm physically fit, my mind is fit and my confidence kind of comes out. And obviously I'm dealing with big companies, insurance companies. I need to show that confidence, obviously. So my kind of training split, I go every day, Monday to Saturday, Sundays my day off. And I do train muscle group at a time. So I'll focus, if I do arms, I just do purely arms, chest. It's just, I found more, appearance changes came through when I was focusing solely on muscle groups. I know some people do push and pull, but I tried all sorts, but the one that worked out the best for me was individual muscle groups. I don't know, what's your thoughts on that, since you've obviously both in fitness?
We got some thoughts on that, my man.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's coming down to that specific thing, we have obviously a lot of ideas, but like what we were thinking, like obviously as an entrepreneur yourself, a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with time to try and fit in training. And my philosophy has always been that, if you train, you'll actually make time back in energy. So regardless of you know what I mean? Regardless if you do like an hour extra in the gym, you'll actually get an hour back in energy. So I think in terms of yourself, because I went on your Instagram because I didn't know who you were initially, obviously Dan knows you, saw the posing, and I was like, this man's obviously, you know, his triceps looking...
Yeah, I saw that photo. You're looking wham, my friend. You're looking wham now.
You're doing the arm flex that you do when you walk past a car, and then you see it in the windscreen, in the side window, and it just looks 10 times bigger. You're doing that pose, and I was like, okay, this man, he trains, obviously.
So the thing is, for me, it's the gym is just my place to be, just away from, because away from all sorts of worries and stresses. I enjoy the gym. So that's why it's my priority. No matter how busy I am, I will go to the gym. Whether it's half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, I will go to the gym, because at the end of the day, I feel unhappy if I don't do that. I can't wake up the next morning energized and ready to go until I felt like for me, that's my milestone every time. It's obviously my challenge every day. Wake up, get to work, smash work, go to the gym, have a nice workout, and get home, have a good sleep. That is my routine. And I enjoy doing that, you know. So
it's interesting you said that, because I know there's a lot of people that swear by waking up in the morning and training in the morning, but you said you train in the evening. Now, why is that?
Because evening, purely because like I run my company in Sri Lanka as well. So I actually wake up, the time zone difference is 3.5 hours. So I do wake up around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I do my operations of Sri Lanka from there onwards. I don't have the luxury of going to the gym because I am working from 5 a.m. onwards. So the only time I am free is after 5 p.m., which is when I have all the time to go to the gym, enjoy swim, for example, take a nice shower and go home. That is that's the main reason. Otherwise, I would love to go to the gym in the morning, which when I was at uni, I used to do that. Before my lectures, I used to go in the mornings, smash gym, come back home, shower, and then go to my 10 a.m. lecture. So that was my split.
Love it.
It's a good, I mean, I'm a morning trainer, always have been. I think it's different for the fitness space because, again, we've got slightly different schedules to yourself. But yeah, like morning, and it depends. It's important you just get the sessions done, don't you? Like, no matter how you're feeling on the day, I think a lot of people can feel lethargic and like the session is going to suck. But at the end of the day, it's important that you're showing up, you're getting the session in. It may not be your most productive session. I'm going to throw in a little bit of information here. You can work at 10% of your training volume and still maintain the results that you've had over a long period of time. You don't have to be working at the 90 to 100% every single session. You can go in and do 10% of what you'd normally do and still hold and retain. I think so many people are worried about losing results just because they're not, you know, if they're not training that 100% every day. But if I'm totally honest, we can't do that. It's practically impossible to train at 100% every day. And those people that do it, I beg to argue that they have got an infinite amount of caffeine in their system to get there.
But there is no better feeling, in my opinion, than when the feeling of not wanting to go to the gym, but then when you actually smash out the gym, I think that feeling is so nice. I don't know if it's the same for you guys or not, but I have that amazing feeling. So I was like, I achieved something. I didn't want to go to the gym, but I dragged myself there, got the workout done, and still come out. Yes, I didn't put 100%, but I still went. It's better than going home and, you know what, sit down and waste time. For me, it's an achievement, whether you do, like you said, put 100% or not.
There's something about doing something hard that makes you feel better after. But it's if you think too much about that something that's hard, then you're just creating this enemy in your head of this thing you got to do, making it out to be harder than it actually is. And I think people think about it too much.
People do, and I think...
Yeah, sorry, go for it.
No, so it's like you said, and that's also kind of in ties with life in general. You know, if you, it's a bit extreme, but it's the same thing. It's a challenge. End of the day, if you don't want to do something, you do it. Put yourself out of the comfort zone. And that is also why I'm here. I kind of sacrificed everything to kind of leave my life behind in England to set up here. But for me, it was kind of looking towards the long-term goal. Where do I want to be the next 5-10 years? You know, I don't want to be in just one place. By then, I want to open up other companies, for example, maybe, or develop this one. Or I have targeted, for example, a branch a year. So this is my first branch. So by next year, I've already looked at another branch already, a few potential spots. And I'm already targeting towards my next goal, because for me to move forward, I need to work kind of towards closer and closer. But they do change. They don't get me wrong. It's not like I set stone for something and I get that one. Sometimes I go a different pathway, but that is normal. That's life. You can't obviously predict the next 5 years precisely, but as long as you got some sort of pathway to go towards, it's a good thing. Put yourself out of comfort zone. For me, it's a beautiful part of life. Instead of being comfortable, why be comfortable? You don't experience life until you put yourself in an uncomfortable position, in my opinion.
And do you know what I love as well? Like, obviously, from all the things you said, like about what you're going to be doing, like with your opening branches, etc., you're clearly like a very proactive person.
Yeah.
And proactivity is something that, for a long time I struggled with trying to figure out how do I become proactive. But actually, training can give you that proactivity that then you can put into your business. I don't know if that's the same for you, but personally myself, like it was training that actually gave me the headspace to actually take action on things. Like before training, I was just lazy. I didn't do anything like, all the time.
No, for me, that's how it is. Because I've done it. I have gone through a phase where I didn't go to the gym, and I saw a huge difference in my productivity. I was much more lazier. It also falls down to my work at the end of the day. If I'm not proactive at the gym or fit, I can't bring the same energy into work. So obviously work is going to go downhill as well. So end of the day, a business down, it goes towards kind of how the owner presents himself. If I am not proactive, how can I expect my staff to be proactive as well? End of the day, they rely on me for kind of tell them what objectives and stuff. If I'm lazy about that, they are not going to give me 100% either. Why should they? Because they're just going to think, okay, Kev is not 100%. Why should we? That's how people mentality work a little bit. If you provide positivity, you get positive back.
Apologies for interrupting the podcast today. Thank you so much for tuning in to You Know What. We really appreciate you listening, subscribing, liking, and reviewing everything that we're doing. It's so nice to see so many of you interacting with our podcast as it grows. If you didn't already know, me and Nick have one of the fastest growing online coaching platforms on the planet, and we'd love to get you involved. We're looking for ambitious people looking to grow their careers and grow their experience in health and fitness. Me and Nick have over 10 years of working experience in the fitness industry, and we'd love to help you achieve the results that you've always wanted. Make sure to contact either Coach Dan King or Get Fit by Nick, or even just check the link in our bio to the podcast now. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, man. How much do you agree with the saying that your business does not outgrow its leader?
Sorry?
So the quote, I don't even know this is the full quote, but your business does not outgrow the leader of the business itself. Like, how much do you agree with that?
I do agree. I agree with that. Because end of the day, like I said, if I'm down, how can I expect my business to go up? End of the day, the business kind of entires around you. Especially modern day business now. If you're not happy with yourself, you cannot expect your business to excel because you will not be driven anymore. You will not be setting yourself challenges anymore. A lot ties in with how you are as an owner and how your success as a business overall. You cannot expect things to just grow by themselves. You need to put effort in. You need to work hard. You need to put the time into things. And if you're not proactive, can't just sleep and wake up the next day and see £1 million in your bank account. It doesn't work like that.
Some people can. Some people can.
To an extent, yeah, maybe.
Warren Buffett, he probably wakes up £1 million richer. He's just like,
But the thing is, he's worked, he puts his time, obviously. So
I think it was something I was talking about. Oh, well, yeah, 100%. We always aspire to this, don't we? Like, we're a growing business as well, like yourself.
Sure.
You've got to obviously, you've got to focus on different areas. And I was actually talking to the guy that we rent the podcast studio off today, and we were talking about burnout. And it's actually something I just wanted to talk about a little bit, because personally for me, I experienced burnout on Monday. And I like to describe burnout as dragging a wet bag of sand through the day. Like, that's how I feel. And like, obviously it's impressionable to all my clients. That's the best way I can describe it. It makes everything so much harder than it needs to be. And like, simply talking to someone can become an effort. And I mean, burnout occurs. It's so hard to prevent, but I think it's more about recognizing burnout. Now, on your own entrepreneurial journey, have you experienced burnout, and how do you manage it yourself?
Burnout, to be fair, I did hit a burn. but that's because I was missing home. I've been away so long from home, and obviously he's quite lonely because obviously it's a new country. They don't speak English, it's Portuguese. Making friends is quite hard. It's not the same as other countries. And so for me, how I overcame a burnout, I mean, I went back home. I took a week back to the UK, kind of just see my friends and family, kind of just switch off from the world a little bit, you know, because there's so much going on here, a lot of responsibilities under me at the moment because I am a one-man show. But I am developing a team, we are growing, but just surrounding myself with my friends and my family really helped out because I came back completely refreshed mind, ready to go 100% into this again. And I'm more driven and more motivated now. So surround yourself, friends and families always helps, you know. Do have your cheat meals every now and then. Don't suffer by going with a strict diet. You know, do have fun. End of the day, I'm still 23. I still want to go out. I still want to experience life, whether it's traveling or trying new things. It's, you know, for me, that is the way to overcome those obstacles, is to kind of just be human. I think that's my, you know, get away from the systematic life that you've built. Just for a day or two. I'm not asking a year off, but, you know, take a couple of days for yourself, and you owe it to yourself. End of the day, you work hard. You need to treat yourself well, you know, whether it's go out shopping and enjoy and treat yourself, or go out, eat somewhere. Just don't suffer, I think, in my opinion.
See, I'm so glad you said that, Kevin, because like there's not, what is it? What's the saying? Time is wasted on the youth.
Yeah.
You've heard of that, yeah? And
yeah.
like, obviously, because you're quite young. I know, Dan, you're 24.
I'm only a year older than Kevin is. Kevin's a year below me in school.
Yeah. So you guys, I feel like an old man compared to you guys right now, even though I'm still young. But when I look at my 20s, man, like, because obviously I was going to give you a bit of advice, but you basically nailed it yourself. You know it. Like, there's not a lot of 20-year-olds or in their 20s that actually think that way. From my experience, they actually get to their 30s and then think, but what did I do? Why did I work so much all the time? I was one of those people. I worked a lot in my 20s, and I reckon I would have gone further ahead if I actually took some time to like relax more. Like, I feel like if you relax sometimes in your 20s and have fun, you can actually like springboard later on. Like, it gives you energy to push forward. So
look at it as an investment point of view. You're investing your time, but for the long term. Yes, short term, maybe you're losing 1 or 2 days, but 1 or 2 days might give you back 1 or 2 years of your life in the future. You know, that for me, that's how I think of life. That's how my parents have taught me to live life by. It's okay. You know, it's okay to have a burnout. We're not perfect. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. We all go through days. Not every day is going to be 100%, but that's it. Make those days into something positive. Don't turn it negative throughout. So I live by positivity, you know.
And I think if you look at like entrepreneurship and building your body as well, it's pretty much all linked. But it's like a marathon of sprints. Like, you sprint and then you recover. You sprint and you recover. You just do it constantly. And I think a lot of people want to do things so quick that they burn out because they don't realize that it's not sustainable in the long term. You can't sprint a marathon, but you can do a marathon of sprints. Yeah. You need those opportunities to recover. And
the issue is we live by as well. I think there's a lot of pressure. I think especially the younger generation, because obviously we have Instagram, Facebook, we've got TikTok, Snapchat. You know, we have so many things where, for some really bizarre reason, you have to be a millionaire by 20, apparently. You know, by now, and I think that puts a lot of pressure on people in general. There is no race. End of the day, it just depends people's situation, how proactive you are, and who you are as a person. You know, because you could be successful in your 50s, but you'll still get there. It just took you longer, but so what? You are your own person, you're your own race. You're not competing against anybody. So that is the issue of social media as well these days, is we obviously put a lot of pressure of ourselves. And I don't compare myself to anybody other than myself. That's it.
And that's the thing, like social media, like you might go onto social media one day and you see this 23-year-old who's got these car companies and clothing companies doing really well for himself. And then like, you know what I mean? It's the same thing, man, because like I think social media, the comparison game is what causes people to fail. Because you might be doing really well, you scroll through TikTok and you see all these like amazing things people are doing, and suddenly you feel worse about yourself. And then before you know it, your energy that you were putting into the project you had is now diverted. You're now distracted from your goal.
Of
And
course.
I feel like we could probably agree that reducing social media consumption
Oh, 100%.
would be a beneficial thing for a business
Of
owner.
course. No, that's I did go through that phase. So when I was younger, popularity was a huge thing. It's like who had the most followers, who can do that. But then recently, I think over the year, I realized private life is so much more beneficial, and I realized more peace in myself. And you know what I did? I ended up removing everybody. I just kept the people who mattered the most to me, people I knew. And it's benefited my life so much. There's a huge difference in terms of my mental health and kind of how I see things is when you surround yourself with people who actually care about you. That is more valuable, and that's something that being the most popular, the most followed doesn't give you that same satisfaction. You know, that satisfaction that you got when you have those many followers, it's a 1 minute thing. You know, you see it as, oh, okay, I have this many followers, but the next morning doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything to your life.
I'm going to play devil's advocate because I actually agree with what you're saying. Like, I think you are right. Ultimately, followers doesn't count, you know, for happiness. However,
But
there
it
is
depends.
the caveat.
It depends.
Yeah, there is the caveat to that.
Yeah, there is
that
a
if you
depends.
have huge amounts of followers, you could grow a business quite effectively.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
100%.
that's the next point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these influencers and other people like social figures, that is different. Because you see, mine is not so much. My business is different because it's more what the business is as opposed to who I am. The business success is not because of who I am or if I'm a celebrity or whatnot. But I understand the 2 points. So I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. I'm just saying it just depends really on how people view it. Because some people misuse social media for wrong, and
That's
those
the
who
one.
do, and there's people who use it for right. So you guys, you're influencing people for better health. You're providing keynotes. Your podcast is all down to how you market it. So yeah, there is obviously no right or wrong. It's just end of the day how the user uses it for the benefit or for the drawbacks. So
That's the key. Yeah, do you know Gary V?
Gary V,
Vaynerchuk?
yeah,
Yeah.
big man.
He says that if you've got good self-esteem, social media is perfect. There's nothing wrong with social media. It's
100%.
self-esteem that is the issue. Like a lot of people don't have good self-esteem, and then
That's
they
the
use
thing,
social
yeah.
media, and then they get
But
bombarded.
it's an underpinning thing as well. I think I can speak from having, like, look, I haven't got a crazy following. We've both got a 10K on one platform at least. So when I hit 10K on TikTok, I thought I was going to have a big celebration. I thought champagne was coming out. I thought I'd be having a world of a time. 10K is no different to 9K. 9K is no different to 5K. 5K is no different to 1K. Like, it really doesn't matter in terms of following. And I've always said this about the following I've got on Instagram. I've always said I haven't got a huge following, but the over 2,000 people that follow me are what I call my core followers. And they're people that I know that, for example, Kevin, I can chat to you when I want to chat to you. Like, I can chat to different people on there and have conversations with my followers, which I think is important. And I think we have to realize that if you invited all these followers into a room at the same time, how big that room would look with all these people that follow you for a reason. And I think that's where people forget that just because it's a number on social media sense doesn't mean that if you put it in a physical sense, it wouldn't be amazing.
Yeah, but this is the thing, like short form content, you can have loads of followers. And it doesn't really mean much really because there's such a fragmented amount of time that they spend watching your thing. But if you had the same amount of followers on YouTube with longer form content, like arguably you got more of their attention. So also it depends on the platform. Like I think followers does have a benefit to certain platforms for sure. Anyway, Kevin, I was going to ask you, what's your opinion then? So someone that is trying to start a business and they going through social media all the time and they're comparing themselves, they got low self-esteem. What should they do to stop that cycle of negative thought and get themselves starting a business? What's your thoughts, mate?
So what I do, because there's big companies out there. For example, when I did my clothing brand, Gymshark took a lot of inspiration. But for me, what I did is I pretended to be Ben Francis. I put myself in his position. How do I get that? How do I have that for myself? And how do I build that for myself? Because it's been done, which means it's not impossible. So what can I do differently to get there? And I think it's good to have big companies like that because you can take a lot of influence and use that to motivate you. How do you get that? You can get to that, or you can better it, you know, because obviously when you look at the Gymshark story, he looked at Nike, Adidas, and those at the time were much bigger. But now I would arguably say they are much on a bigger scale now. They're up there with them. And potentially one day they can even overcome that. So for me, you should never limit yourself by seeing what other people have, because you never know. With what your like your capabilities and your creativity, you might end up doing even better. So I always see that as like, how do you say, like kind of a milestone to hit, but that should never be your end goal. And start your own journey. Everyone's story is so different from each other. And I think if we lived in a world where everyone's success story was the same, I think it would be very boring. I think that the definition of success wouldn't be success as it is today, because obviously we have so many entrepreneurs out there. Everyone's got such different stories, and it's nice, obviously, to listen to how everybody got there. And everyone is different. So I would never compare yourself to somebody else. Just see it as just a target to reach.
I agree. I completely agree. Well, we've got some quick fire questions for you now to kind of round off the podcast.
No problem.
So
ready, Kevin.
Again, they're as quick as you can answer them. I'm not going to set a time or anything, but we just kind of want like snappy answers to these. Okay. So actually, the first question is very car related. So obviously, you're a man who likes your cars, big time. So I know this is very kind of but Porsche or Range Rover?
Ooh, Range Rover.
Why?
Ooh.
Range Rover. Do you know what? There's something about the classiness that you get from a Range Rover. I don't know why you get that sporty feeling. I don't know. You could say powerful. You're kind of up there on the road. Obviously, you get a lot more of a road presence. Obviously, I'm a Porsche fan as well, but for me, Range Rover.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Okay, so would you rather be book smart or social smart?
Oh, I think social smart. Purely because book smart is limited to what that book has. And for example, I would say uni is an example. Obviously, we learn everything for uni, but nothing correlated with what I do in real life. Nothing that obviously theories and stuff are true, but you cannot teach someone how to run a business by reading a book. End of the day, it's based on your experience. And if you don't have social smartness or social skills, I think you're going to fail, because you limit yourself to only what someone else's knowledge has been passed on into that book end of the day. So that's my opinion.
Great.
I like that. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, so here's an interesting one. If you could invite 3 famous people to dinner, who would it be and why?
Well, that's a good question. Tell you what, Kylie Jenner, 100%. Celebrity
Ooh, hell yeah.
crush. Celebrity crush. I think I would have Drake, top artist for me.
This is strong so far for a table, I'm not going to lie.
I don't know, third one actually. Someone influential, someone.
Or from the past as well. It can be anyone.
Muhammad Ali. Huge influence.
Wow. Drake, Kylie Jenner, and Muhammad Ali for my word.
3 completely different people. That's what makes them more interesting, you know? It's 3 different backgrounds.
Oh, it's incredible. I like that one.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. Okay, so what did you waste the most time on in your business?
Ooh, waste time.
Yeah, what would you say is the most time-wasting thing you've ever put yourself into?
I tell you what, it sounds bad, but negotiation can take a lot out of you. A lot of the times can go completely south, and you wasted 1 or 2 hours of negotiation, and that's 1 or 2 hours I won't get back. But you know, end of the day, my business runs through negotiation. It's a business deal. I'm working with insurance companies and individual clients, so yeah, negotiation takes so much out of me, and it can be draining. Especially when you don't get the outcome that you want. So yeah, it depends.
Damn.
I like it. So the last one. Now this is a little bit of a kind of more detailed one. Now you don't have to go as in depth if you don't want to.
Or you can.
But do it.
Okay.
What is the most embarrassing thing you've done in your business? It can be right at the start. This could be like last 2 weeks. What's the most embarrassing thing you've done in your business?
The most embarrassing thing. That's a good question. I've done it where I've miscommunicated with my customers. I've obviously told them a separate price, and my staff have told them a completely different price, and then said, "Are you trying to make more profit out of me?" And obviously, I got called out. Those things are meant to be internal. It's meant to be I negotiated with my staff to give them a price. But obviously, that time we didn't communicate properly, and that the customer ended up receiving two prices from the same company. So obviously, I apologized and I said, you know what, take the lowest offer. That is my mistake. For me, I felt embarrassed because obviously it didn't show professionalism to them, but I apologize. But those were early stages. That's when I first came into the country, and I was still kind of getting grips of things. So, but no, it's I've definitely learned my lesson from there.
I think it is important you learn from those kind of things, though. Like I've had it in consultations before where I've quoted one price at the start of the consultation and then I quoted another price. This is my very early years of personal training. And quoted another price at the end and sat there and they've gone, "That's not what you said at the start." And I went, "Oh shit, what have I done?" And you just sit there and it's just like, oh shit moment where you want the ground to kind of swallow you up for a minute.
You can't do anything at that point, you know, because you don't want to lose business, you don't want to lose that client. So the only thing you can do is give them the lower price, you know. It's fair play.
And that's where the social smartness comes in, isn't it? Like at that point, it's like, okay, yeah, I messed up.
I done wrong. But I will say, Kevin, go on, what are you going to say?
100%,
no, I said we are human. We make mistakes like this all the time. It's just prone to happen. So,
well, it's been fantastic having you on the podcast as well. We're going to wrap up there. It's been a pleasure. How have you found the podcast?
It's fantastic. I tell you what, when I came across it, I was a huge fan. I love what you guys do with it. I love the studio. Very professional, and I think you guys have. You bring a lot of positive energy. Like I said to Dan the other day, I was listening to it whilst I was getting ready in the morning, and it's just a nice start. Because usually I start with music. My day, I listen to music, but this time I thought, let me listen to the podcast, and you know, it's picked out a lot, and I think you guys will have huge success with this. And I'm rooting for it behind. I want you to succeed and keep doing what you guys do. It's fantastic.
Oh, well, we appreciate it big time, mate. We really appreciate it.
Got some real big guests coming as well soon, mate. So you're going to be loving it, mate. Got lots.
You'll be in that. You'll be up there as our strongest titles, don't you? Because I've really enjoyed this podcast. I say, me and Kevin have spoken in the past as well, and I think it's really given me such an insight into obviously the young entrepreneurial life. Even if I could say it in this podcast today, but. Yeah, it's been fantastic having you on. Now I'm just going to wrap up, Kevin. So you're going to have to excuse the old radio presenter cut off hit. Yeah, right. So thank you very much, guys, for watching the podcast today. It's been absolutely fantastic having Kevin on. I've appreciated learning so much about him. If you've enjoyed Kevin's story as well, make sure to go check out his businesses. Now, Kevin, do you want to just plug your businesses very quickly? We'll put them in the link in the description as well. So go for it.
You can follow my card page at Ero Chappelle or Saints Blanc. So those are two of my companies you can follow. So give it a follow and share.
That's lovely. Thank you so much for coming on as well today, Kevin. Make sure you guys check out us on all socials, drop reviews, drop subscriptions, and drop a little comment down the bottom if you do enjoy these podcasts. Obviously, we're growing as a podcast, and we're loving everyone leaving all their feedback. We've got plenty more guests coming on, and I'm sure Kevin will make a reappearance when you come back to the UK. Maybe we can get you on as an in-person guest, which would be fantastic. So thank you very much, guys, and we will catch you later.
Ciao, ciao.